Okay. So, your group represents members of the Lowell Committee. We're going to run a clemency hearing and ask witnesses from 6 different groups a set of questions. Okay? I am the governor of Massachusetts, and I now convene the Lowell Committee to hear testimony in the case of convicted felons Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, because they already got convicted and found guilty. After listening to this testimony, the committee will advise me whether or not to grant clemency to these men. So, the first group I'm going to call on to testify is the American Civil Liberties Union. You can hold this or wear it, it doesn't matter. The top's the mic. So, first question for you. What is the purpose of your group, and who are you?
Okay, we are the American Civil Liberties Union, or the ACLU, and we defend unpopular individuals and groups such as Sacco and Vanzetti. And our question was, do you believe that the anti-immigrant sentiment of the period prevented Sacco and Vanzetti from getting a fair trial period? Why or why not? And we said yes, the anti-immigrant sentiment between Sacco and Vanzetti did get an unfair trial because they were foreign Italians who immigrated to America in 1908. The judge and jury were biased against them because they were foreign. And so that's our other fact too. What?
Okay. I just want to make sure I hear from both of you.
All right.
I know you want to be YouTube famous, but...
You're
okay,
out.
so are you still explaining why his trial was unfair, or are you on to the third question?
We're on to the third one, the facts.
Oh no, we should still probably...
Because normally as governor I ask the questions around here, but you were just in such a hurry, okay?
Okay.
Because I asked, did the anti-immigrant sentiment prevent him from getting a fair trial? And you said yes. My next question is, should I, the governor, give them clemency or let them die? You pick up wherever you were, because I'm not sure we know where you were. Either why the trial was unfair or why I should give them clemency.
We are where he's at, so explain why they deserve clemency.
So, they deserve clemency.
Why?
Because... okay, thank you. The police did not use a lineup to have the witnesses identified the suspects. Instead, they placed Sacco and Vanzetti alone in the middle of the room and had them pose as bandits. The defense produced 17 witnesses who provided alibis for Sacco and Vanzetti on the day of the murder. One of the official of the Italian who remembered that Sacco's passport picture was too large to be used.
Okay. Do you guys know how a lineup works?
Consulate.
They get guys that look similar to what the witness statement was, and then they have them turn, and then the witness picks whoever it was.
Yeah, so they have like 10 lined up.
Why do we do
and then
the
they,
10 different guys instead of just the one?
So they can identify who did it.
Well, what happens if you just put the one accused guy out by himself?
Then they're automatically.
They have no choices.
Is that fair to him?
No.
Remember how we said this is testing our founding ideal of rights. So, if you didn't know, they did not do a lineup. They took the 2 of them, dressed them up like bandits, like robbers, and said, did they look like the 2 guys who committed the robbery? Does that sound prejudicial? Like unfair? Okay, if you didn't know, in European countries, this right here is actually illegal. When they bring defendants into courtrooms, you cannot handcuff them. Do you know why? Because we always say, for safety, they're murderers. European countries say you can't handcuff them in the courtroom.
Because they haven't had like a trial yet. Like it's not done.
You're treating them like criminals, and we haven't proved anything yet. So, think of Sheriff Haskell. Of course, he's not accused of robbery and murder, but if you put him in an orange jumpsuit and put handcuffs on him, people go, oh, he's guilty. Haven't had a trial yet. Let's wait till we hear the facts. Okay? So, anything else on why we should give him clemency instead of letting him die? Okay, you'll get a chance to come back with your one big thing. So, if you would pass the mic to your nativist neighbor.
Thank you.
So, nativist, if you could explain who you are and what your group is all about, please, for the record.
Okay, we are Nativists. We are a group of individuals who are patriotic and believe that whites are superior to other races.
I'm sorry. I won't laugh anymore.
Thank you. Are you going to continue with the question?
Please. The next one is, do you believe that the social tensions of the period prevented Sacco and Vanzetti from getting a fair trial?
No, of course not. It was their fault for carrying guns, lying about what they were doing the night of the robbery, skipping out on the draft, and going to an anarchist meeting. If they didn't want the police officer knowing where they went, they should have thrown away the flyer. Why would we trust someone who wants to overthrow the government and cause mayhem to the whole country? Besides, they are Italian immigrants. They could care less about the American lives they took. Again, they are Italians, not born of American free blood.
Okay. So, do you want me to give them clemency?
No. They should continue on with their sentence. They came to America wanting the free life. Then they abandoned us in our time of need.
How so?
They skipped on the draft. They went to Mexico? Yeah. Then they want to overthrow the government. And then they were carrying around guns with no reason. And they had loose bullets on them, on their person, when they were arrested.
I will take that into consideration. Thank you, Nativists.
You're very welcome.
And I got to hear from both of you, however you decide to do that. So, next we have the industrial workers of the world, a.k.a. the Wobblies, a.k.a. the hardcore union members. So, who are you and what are you all about?
Okay, so we're the Wobblies, and their purpose is to help workers finance for natural needs. And I didn't think they had a fair trial because the judge was being racial judge to Sacco and Vanzetti because they were foreign, basically.
Okay. So, should I give them clemency or let them die?
Yes, you should give them clemency.
The bottom of it, so we can there you go. Just pretend it's a microphone.
Alright.
Why should I give them clemency?
Why? They're just coming to the United States to have a job. One of the guys was a rope maker. He had a wife and family to provide for, and they're helping support the unions and labor.
So you think they're getting mistreated because they're union members?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other facts about why I should give them clemency?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, thank you. So, next we have the Plymouth Portage Company. What is the name of the company and what are you guys all about?
Okay, we are the Plymouth Portage Company, and we believe they should not get clemency.
Okay, do you
Because
know
we don't-
Bartolomeo Vanzetti?
Yeah, he was a rope maker for us, and he helped organize a strike against our company.
Oh, so as the bosses, how do you feel towards his union?
We don't like them because they're trying to shut down businesses.
Do you think the labor tensions of the time prevented Sacco and Vanzetti from getting a fair trial?
Yes, because they are Italian immigrants.
So you think
And-
their trial was unfair?
Yes.
Okay, any reason why? Besides they're Italian.
Well, we did this. Okay. So
Just tell me
they're
what you have.
okay, so they're Italian immigrants, and so they're stealing all of the Americans' jobs.
Okay.
So all those Americans that came back that were helping fight for our country when they ran away to Mexico, and now that they're back, and now they don't have jobs because these guys are taking them.
Okay, so do they deserve clemency or do they deserve to die in the electric chair?
They don't deserve clemency.
Why not?
Well, they tried shutting businesses down, and they were anarchists that were hiding things And then they also, a witness gave a full description of Sacco down to the size of his hand and the length of his hair. And when our country was in need of people to fight for our country, they ran and hid.
Okay.
So,
So if you haven't found out the pattern, there's the yin and the yang. Your opposite group should be sitting next to you. Like, you guys are opposites, you guys are opposites.
Yo.
They'll be opposites. So, East Boston Anarchist Organization. Who are you and what is the purpose of your society?
We are anarchists, and we believe in no government. We believe into throwing off the democracy and all government and live on our own terms with our own freedoms.
Okay. Do you think the political tensions of the time period prevented Sacco and Vanzetti from getting a fair trial?
Yes, we believe that it wasn't a fair trial due to racism and minority. And we believe that some of the evidence that we have is that he did have a flyer and that said that where he was going to be that night.
What's that give him?
Freedom of speech, pretty much.
Okay, so like there's nothing criminal about having an anarchy flyer?
No.
What about being an anarchist in general? Does that make him guilty?
No.
Do you think he's discriminated against because he's an anarchist?
Yeah.
Okay, so should we give him clemency?
Of course we should give him clemency. He didn't get a fair trial. The judge was obviously racist towards him, and there was no solid evidence into even blaming him for the murder.
Is there any definitive physical evidence? No.
The only thing they should be put in jail for is probably ditching on the draft, but not blaming on the murder, so.
Okay, and does being a draft dodger make you a murderer?
No.
Thank you. Okay, Palmer Ray cops who rounded these guys up and arrested them. What's your job and what was your role in the Palmer raids?
Alright, so we were the SWAT team during the Palmer raids, and our job was to protect the American citizens from the threat of the anarchists.
Okay, so, do you believe the anarchists like Sacco and Vanzetti are dangerous to American society?
All anarchists are dangerous to our country and have proven so by bombing and attempting to bomb people of our government.
Okay. Do you think they deserve clemency from the governor, or do they deserve to fry?
We believe that they should be fried because they have broken the law, and it has been proven by the bullet in the gun, and they need to answer to their crimes. We need to send a message to all anarchists that they will not win the fight against the government.
Okay, last question off the record. You still have to use the mic, though. Did you violate civil liberties of thousands of immigrants just because people were discriminating against them at the time? Yes.
Of course
Well.
I will. This will not be considered in my answer, just for their information.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, we did.
That's off the books, though.
Did you have warrants or probable cause for the thousands of immigrants that you
Maybe
searched?
not.
Nope,
Possibly not.
not at all.
What evidence of criminal activity did you find?
We found some 3 guns.
We found 3 pistols,
3
Took them down
pistols.
hard.
and we raided about 6,000 people, houses, places.
So we deported 5,000 of them, but all we found was 3 pistols, and none of them were legal searches because if you haven't read the Fourth Amendment before, you either need a warrant or probable cause to do a search. They're admitting they didn't have any. Basically broke into their homes. And then they deported them without a hearing, and while only 3 pistols were found out of all 5,000 of those immigrants. And we just said, go back to your home country. Do people tend to give up on those civil liberties in times of danger and say, just protect us. You can take my privacy. You can take my security. Just keep me safe. Does that kind of sound like after 9/11?
Yeah.
Just protect me from terrorism. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you get to say why you want them to not have clemency? You said you want them to fry, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Starting back with these guys, you're going to get your final closing statement. Okay? Basically this. My hand as the governor okay, is either going to tell the state electrician, that was really a job in Massachusetts, flip the switch or let him go. What's the last thing you tell me as governor before that happens?
Before you do that, what are you leaning towards now?
I'm neutral.
No, you're not. No. Not after you've heard all this.
Just go.
Yeah, I am.
You can't be.
The description fitting the size of his hand and the length of his hair, that's pretty damning. Like, it makes him look bad. The pistol had the same caliber, maybe not the exact bullet. I wish we could tell if it was, but we can't.
Okay, time out. Go. You don't know.
Oh,
I thought he did, but then he just said that. I lost confidence.
Then say what you're gonna say.
sometimes I
Or
want.
tell me what you're gonna say.
They don't have, like, physical evidence. Like, they don't have...
Okay, I understand where you're going with this.
You have to be powerful.
Shut up. Okay.
I don't want to hear from you.
Good. Because I want to hear from me too. So, like you say, you wish they could go back and test it with today's technology. Wishes don't get you anywhere. Evidence does. And as of now, no evidence was proven that that bullet was from his gun. And then the hat found didn't fit him, doesn't count. There was no conclusive evidence. And man, there was some stuff that they did do that was against the Constitution, against laws and stuff, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the evidence of this murder and the robbery, and none of it is conclusive to point Sacco and Vanzetti. What? You know, you could say it. He wants to hear from both of us.
And because the jury and the judge were both biased, that does not give them a fair opportunity. And we have the right to, like, a jury of our peers, and that was not given to them. Therefore, it is not fair for them to die.
Okay, I will take that into consideration. Last thing you want me to know before we flip the switch.
Okay. As a nativist, I believe that because they were active in the anarchists believe that the government shouldn't have a say. There shouldn't be any government at all, and that's just wrong. Without a government, the whole country would, like, turn to mayhem. There would be fights, riots. Don't nod your head, you know it's the truth. There would be so many things wrong. It's been proven that they had, like, blown things up, put bombs in people's houses to stop this. Why would we set people free knowing that they could very well someday put a bomb in someone's house? It could be from someone that you even know. Here you go.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that into consideration.
I hope you do.
Hope is not a strategy.
I wish. Shut up, Adam.
Okay, what do you want me to know?
I know.
Let's see.
The last thing you want me to know before the electrician's hand is on the switch.
Well, I don't think you should flip the switch because the evidence doesn't really prove that they actually did the murder or did the robbery, basically. The hat didn't fit, and the bullets really didn't show if the bullets came out of the gun. Your turn.
Right. And the judge, he admitted that he was against activists, and during their time, unions were being racialized. People didn't like the unions because they're ruining their way of life.
Okay, I will take that into consideration. Thank you. Plymouth Portage Company. What's the last thing you want me to know before deciding?
Well,
Can you hold it up?
yes. So, one witness had a precise description of the hand size and the length of his hair, and they ran away to Mexico when we needed them, or our country needed them. and they try to shut down our businesses.
Okay, thank you.
That doesn't make us murderers. Alright.
We believe government sucks.
Yeah, government does suck. Okay, so we anarchists are peaceful people, alright?
Very.
Bombed 19 different places on the same day then.
Because they're government people. We are, most anarchists are peaceful
Very,
people.
very intelligent and peaceful.
Yeah, we're very intelligent and very peaceful.
Tell me why Sacco and Vanzetti deserve a new trial.
Because all the other evidence I've heard from them is that he ran away to Mexico when he needed to go to war, but that does not make him a murderer. That does not make any of them murderers, and putting them on trial for being a murderer and then accusing them guilty because they left for their country when they needed them is kind of, that's not fair, and because they did not have any solid evidence at all, just like what Adam was talking about. Do you have anything, sir?
Nope.
Nope.
Palmer raid cops.
Okay, the judge and the jury already gave them their sentence. They had their chance to prove their innocence, but they failed in doing so. If they really cared about their lives, they shouldn't have waited until now to vocalize it.
Therefore, they need to be answered to their crimes and fry in the electric chair.
No,
Yeah, but the jury proved them guilty too.
Convinced the jury.
Not all the jury was biased.
They have a jury.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you. As somebody who believes in the founding ideals of this country, especially the fact that you have rights that cannot be taken away, based on what you guys told me, the only evidence I heard that really connected Sacco to the crime is a witness who described him pretty well. But based on the lineup being highly prejudicial and no physical evidence, because listen, a witness seeing is not physical evidence. And do people ever misremember, even on accident? Eyewitnesses are highly unreliable, okay? And I didn't hear anything about Vanzetti. He had a flyer in his pocket, and he was Italian and in the Union. That doesn't make him a murderer. I'll tell you this. Common sense understanding of our legal system begs that you cannot execute these guys. Even Sacco, with that one witness. Is that good enough to take his life? Because here's the problem with the death penalty. If you screw up, there is no control Z. You can't say, oops, DNA evidence showed it wasn't him. You killed him. At least with life in prison, you can let them out later and give them a couple $1 million for their trouble. Not that that's okay, but it's better than killing them. So if I was governor, based on what you told me, clemency, no doubt. But that's not what really happened. Okay? And I told you that's the picture the day before they fried. We do not have pictures of them frying. We do, however, have a picture of their funeral that two basically poor immigrant workers who got executed, their death was protested around the world. Brazil, Germany, Australia, Russia, not just the United States. 200,000 people turned out for their funeral. For two poor immigrants. Not for a president or a mayor or anybody like that. Okay? Now, here's what's really interesting. We still have the gun that Sacco was found with. We still have the bullets. We tested them. Okay, about 6 years ago, I think. Anybody want to take a guess at whether or not it was a perfect match? It was a perfect match to his gun. So we can say, unless somebody else used that gun and then gave it to Sacco, which is possible, but I don't think that's realistic. Pretty sure Sacco did it. But
why is Vanzetti dead?
I don't know. No one has any evidence today that really shows he did it. Basically, at the time, it was popular to pick on Italians in the Union and anarchists, and he had a gun. Okay? Because one of the witnesses literally said, I saw 2 Italian guys do it. I'm like, oh, Sacco, he's Italian. Vanzetti, he's Italian. Let's try them out. Okay? So there's no evidence that proves Vanzetti did anything wrong. But there's pretty good evidence now that Sacco did at least pull the trigger. Here's a really good question for you. Does that change your answer, knowing that now? As governor, if you came back and said, now you know for sure he did it, does that change your answer?
I don't think Vanzetti or Sacco.
Here's the problem, though. At the time, we didn't know for sure that the gun matched. So, I know this is going to really shake your belief system to your core. Sacco was guilty. We're like 95% sure today. He didn't deserve to die. Here's why. You can't go back after the fact and say, now we're pretty sure. Because when we made that decision to flip the switch, we did not know that. It's different to know it after the fact. Okay? So, if you know the Fifth Amendment, here's what people would say. What if I gave him clemency and said, let him go, and then we tested the gun and we said, oh, now we know for sure Sacco did it. You cannot put them on trial again for the same crime. Okay, so here's what happens. Let's say Patrick's found murdered, Ben is accused. He would never do such a thing. Okay, it's his brother if you don't know his brother. And they try him for murder without a murder weapon. And the jury says, yeah, we're not totally sure it's you. They acquit you and you walk free. And then the day after, we find the murder weapon with your prints and you openly admit that you did it. You cannot try him again.
So if you after you found not guilty, you'd be like, all right, I did it.
But here's the problem with that. You can get sued in civil law and you'll probably lose. So that exact thing happened to O.J. Simpson. He got acquitted of murder, mostly because a glove didn't fit, not a hat. But after that, he didn't run around and say, I did it, haha, I beat the legal system, because his ex-wife that he killed, their family sued him for wrongful death for a couple $1 million. And he lost that case. We'll get into that in government class. But the key is you can't go back and try them with new evidence. You get one trial. And if the jury says, nope, he didn't do it, no matter what evidence you dig up later, you cannot use it against him again. So here's what I'll tell you. They both deserved a retrial. Sacco, even though we're pretty sure he's guilty today, he didn't deserve to die because we didn't know that when we decided to kill him. Okay? So, here's what we're going to do. You guys don't have to write anything.